नमस्कार दोस्तों, क्या हमारे देश में डेमोक्रेसी खत्म हो चुकी है? ये एक बड़ा सीरियस सवाल है।
Can India still call itself the largest democracy on earth?
India's democratic credentials has always been a easily available punching bag by people both abroad and within the country itself. This time two questions have been raised on the democratic credentials of India, or has India become a dictatorial regime like China, North Korea or Mali? Namaste guys, welcome to your own channel Indian Geopolitics, where you get insights of India's rich economic, historical, cultural, social, geographical and geopolitical landscapes. Before we dwell into this discussion, I would like you to answer this question. When was the term secular introduced in the preamble of the Indian Constitution? You will get the answer to this question at end of this video. So recently, one of India's well-known YouTuber made a video about how India is slowly becoming a dictatorial regime. This video would have been neglected by the domestic Indian audience, but it created a negative portrayal of India among the global audience at a larger scale, which is not good for India geopolitically. The cause for this outcry by this YouTuber was the recent irregularities in the election process of the Union Territory of Chandigarh. Let me clarify it in the beginning itself that by no means I am defending the malpractice in the election process, but by this one incident we can't arrive at a conclusion that democracy is dead in India. Also, the Supreme Court of India took cognizance in this matter and declared the election result of Chandigarh null and void. This was clear-cut example of one arm of governance correcting the wrongdoing by other arm, that is executive. But using terms like dictatorship loosely is a very dangerous precedent given the dark, violent historical background that is associated with this terminology. Mao was a dictator from China under whose regime more than 1 crore Chinese people lost their life. Similarly, Adolf Hitler in Germany had assassinated 6 million Jews. Also, Idi Amin from Uganda was responsible for death of more than 1 million Ugandans. So when we call someone to be a dictator or a country to be under dictatorship, we should keep this in mind about the great atrocities that the citizen of that country might have faced, which is clearly not the case in India at present. The term dictatorship itself was explained by other scholar Ajit Bharti in this clip.
या डिक्टेटरशिप है, इस पर हम चर्चा करेंगे। चलिए सबसे पहले जो है वो हम चर्चा करते हैं कि तानाशाही होती क्या है। अगर हम विकिपीडिया के डेफिनेशन से जाएं कि डिक्टेटरशिप क्या है, तो विकिपीडिया कहता है कि ये इस तरह का सरकारी व्यवस्था होती है जिसमें एक व्यक्ति या कुछ व्यक्ति सरकार के सारे उनकी जो शक्तियां होती है बिना किसी सीमा के वो अपना ले लेते हैं और उसके बाद वो इस तरह के कार्य करते हैं जो हो सकता है कि जनप्रिय ना हो, लोग जिस तरह से चाहते हैं वैसा ना हो। और राजनीति जो है डिक्टेटरशिप में वो एक डिक्टेटर द्वारा नियंत्रित की जाती है और उसके कुछ लोग जो होते हैं एडवाइजर्स होंगे और कुछ चुनिंदा लोग हैं संचालित की जाती है। तो ये है। अब बात आती है कि क्या भारत में ऐसा हो रहा है? कैसे आप मतलब क्या सत्ता एक व्यक्ति के हाथ में केंद्रित है? नहीं, क्योंकि भारत में 31 राज्य और शासित प्रदेश ऐसी व्यवस्था है ना, तो क्या वहाँ पे डायरेक्ट केंद्र रूल कर रहा है? केंद्र शासित प्रदेश में तो बाय डेफिनेशन संविधान हमें अलाउ करता है। क्या मोदी ने आते ही संविधान बदल दिया? नहीं बदला है। राज्यों में चुनाव हो रहे हैं कि नहीं हो रहे हैं? क्या राज्यों में चुनाव के परिणाम सारे भाजपा के ही पक्ष में जा रहे हैं? नहीं जा रहे। तो फिर आप यहाँ पे ये नहीं कर सकते कि मोदी ने अपने नियंत्रण में सत्ता ले ली है और वो कुछ लोगों के द्वारा पूरी राजनीति को और निरंकुश भाव से जो है वो शासन किया जा रहा है, वो जो कहता है वो हो जाता है। नहीं हो रहा। किसान आंदोलन हुआ और उसके बाद रिपील कर दिया उसने तीनों कानूनों को। डिक्टेटर्स ऐसा नहीं करते। डिक्टेटर्स के विरोधियों को यदि समन जाता है ईडी का और वो रिफ्यूज करते हैं तो डिक्टेटर उसको उठा लेगा।
Now to explain whether India is under a dictatorial regime or not, let's look at this fact
Okay, I'm going to tell you, see, by sheer population, the lion's share in the super election year goes to India. 1.4 billion people, out of which 945 million voters. 945 million voters. To give you a background, India's democracy has had an interesting journey. That's why I will come to the risk also. When India got independent in 1947, the British Prime Minister said on record, it won't survive. India will be ruled by bullet and not ballot. India will disintegrate. That's 1947. Today in 2024 and 23, the US Secretary of the State said India is the biggest expression of free political will anywhere in the world. So that is the trajectory of Indian democracy. By sheer numbers, are we susceptible to risk? We have our strengths. We are robust. We are resilient. We are responsive. 1 million polling booth stations. 1 million. 6 national parties. 56 regional parties. 2,643 unrecognized parties. 33% reservation for women to fight elections. India has just passed the law. A lady from a tribal background, predominantly people who live in the forest, whose earning is from the forest, she is now the president of India. An individual who used to sell tea by the roadside and the curbside is the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So that is the kind of robust democracy India has. Why? Because the governments come and go. We work by the constitution, where it's by the people, for the people, of the people. We have a set system of separation of powers. Our judiciary is independent. Our army is apolitical. Our constitution has drawn the red line between the judiciary, executive and legislature. No matter what decision of the Supreme Court government likes or does not like, it has to bow down to it. And most importantly, our election commission, the body which conducts the elections, the free elections, is totally independent to the extent it's in a collaboration with 31 countries across the world, including the organization United Nations, because Indian election is the largest man-managed event on the planet.
But before we dwell into this topic, I would request you to subscribe the channel if you haven't done yet, and press the bell notification icon to get regular updates, and would request you to like this video so that we can reach a target of 1000 likes to create a better awareness of India's democratic credential among the larger domestic and global audience. Thank you. Further, this notion of India becoming a dictatorial regime was questioned by another media person who represents an independent media organization which forms the fourth pillar of vibrant but noisy democracy of India. Have a look.
मैंने सुना उन्होंने सवाल उठाए हैं, और हालांकि वो भारत में नहीं रहते हैं, लेकिन फिर भी उनका ये वीडियो करना और भारत में देखा जाना और उसके ऊपर डिस्कशन होना, कोई बहुत लोग उसके समर्थन में बोले, बहुत उसके खिलाफ बोले, एक डिबेट बनी उसके ऊपर, और मेरे ख्याल 10 लाख से ऊपर तो मैंने कल परसों देखा था लोग देख चुके। तो ये दिखाता है कि अभी लोकतंत्र खत्म नहीं हुआ है जी। तो लोकतंत्र में चुनौतियां हमेशा रहती हैं, कभी ज्यादा होती हैं, कभी कम होती हैं, लेकिन अगर लोकतंत्र खत्म हो जाए तो ऐसी चीज चल ही नहीं सकती है। ये मतलब समस्याएं हैं, पर ऐसी भी नहीं। अगर इतना लोकतंत्र खत्म हो गया होता तो मैं भी यहाँ बैठ के आपके सामने नहीं बोल सकता था।
शेखर,
और बड़ी बात, आप मेरे से सवाल नहीं पूछ सकते थे। अगर लोकतंत्र खत्म हो गया होता तो आप मेरे से सवाल कैसे पूछते कि शेखर गुप्ता क्या लोकतंत्र खत्म हो गया है? उसी से आपको समस्या हो जाती, मुझे होती कि नहीं।
I am not here to stamp onto the democratic credentials of India, but I would like to know your views in the comment section on whether India is still a vibrant working democracy or it's heading towards a dictatorial system. Also, stay tuned to know more on your own channel Indian Geopolitics, and don't forget to express your views in the comment section below. Like this video and share it with your friends and colleagues, and subscribe your own channel Indian Geopolitics to get regular updates of India. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.